Næsta langar mig að kynna Katie Hodgetts, þannig ég ætla að skipta aftur yfir í ensku. I would like to present to you Katie Hodgetts. She is the founder of the Resilience Project. After years of climate activism as a youth, Katie experienced severe burnout. She decided to found the Resilience Project that focuses on assisting and training young pioneers and activists by empowering them through connectivity and inner resilience. Katie has become a strong voice for the mental health of young sustainability activists and professionals. She was a speaker at the Inner Development Goals Summit last year, and she sits in the International Youth Board of IKEA. I'm very proud to present my good friend, Katie.
Hello, thank you for having me. It is an absolute pleasure to be here from the UK. And I'm Katie, the founder and director of the Resilience Project, which is an organisation empowering, training and supporting young climate change makers to unlock their personal resilience in the face of the climate crisis. So our mission is to combat the very high rates of burnout, climate anxiety, hopelessness and poor mental health which exists not just only in the youth movement but also in adults. So you won't be surprised to hear that my story started in the youth movement. I was 21 actually, and by 23 I was heavily involved in two large UK movements. I was talking on panels, I was talking to politicians, and I'd coordinated campaigns that had mobilized over 80,000 people to the streets for climate action. But also, by the age of 23, I had internalized the pressure of being the generation to fix it at the expense of my health and my spirit. And to cope with the pressure of being a young leader, I developed an eating disorder, and I fell into a burnout that it left me really utterly hopeless. And what I saw was that there was no support on offer for someone like me or others who were experiencing similar issues. So a year later, when I was 24, I decided to change that. And I started the Resilience Project to create and offer accessible, free support for young folks so that if they're going to step up for climate action bravely, that they would be rewarded with joy and community and togetherness rather than exhaustion and despair. I want to make climate action feel good because what feels good is sustainable. And in the 4 years since starting the organization, I'm 28 now, I've worked with hundreds of young people and senior leaders around these themes of resilience and climate leadership. So in the very brief time that I have with you, I'm going to talk through 3 best practices to unlock that climate leadership. The first one, we have been chatting and hearing about courage, and my work focuses on something that sits right next to courage, which is vulnerability. If we want to meet our ambitious climate targets, then we need to embrace vulnerability as a superpower and not a weakness. So for leaders, we need to unlock the vulnerability to be able to not know all of the answers and to have perhaps more questions than answers. As individuals, we need to unlock the vulnerability to be able to ask that question to ourselves that we heard earlier, what did I do? And together, all of us, we need to embrace the vulnerability that we need to have when we're looking at what will happen if we don't act ambitiously. I know that we might want to stay strong and focus on solutions, but the real strength lies in having the courage to look at all the trajectories that are in front of us and what will happen if we don't act. Because in vulnerability, in this place, our humanity comes to the surface, And it's this very human response which is going to catalyze and raise climate ambition. So looking at the hard stuff or fighting the dragon becomes the fertilizer for impactful and powerful action. And in that vulnerability, we find connection. Connection really is the magic ingredient because this is a team sport. The next is redefining winning. So if winning for us is just policy change or meeting net zero, it means that we aren't winning very often. But if we reconceptualize winning so that winning becomes gathering here today and having really meaningful conversations and dialogue in the in-between, if that becomes winning, then we're winning more often. We win, and it generates hope. And hope is the catalyst for action. And finally, the theme of today is writing the history of mankind. And we know that the latest IPCC report has been described as an atlas of human suffering. An atlas of human suffering. Stay with me. Sit in vulnerability. Sit in courage. So for many of us then, climate change might feel like the night, placed in history as the inevitable end of a long day of industrial, tech, and economic boom. And then we might think, it's too late. How can we stop the inevitability of a nightfall? What's the point in even trying? And to that question, I say, what if the climate crisis is the dawn? And instead of this being the closing chapter of an 100-year day, this is the day after. And when we flip the script, when we change our perspective, we can start to rewrite the story. So whilst night is characterized by uncertainty and fear and darkness, the day is characterized by possibility and imagination and mystery. And in this pivotal moment between light and dark, I wonder where we are between dusk and dawn. And I hear clues that the climate crisis is actually the day. Where I live, in the mornings, the incoming flood of light is accompanied by the dawn chorus. We all know the dawn chorus. And it's hard to pick out the unique bird song of each of the different birds, but what you get is this collective swell of togetherness, and you know that change is coming. You know that change is on its way. And with the dawn chorus, I look around and I see people taking ambitious climate action all across the world. And I hear the dawn chorus. I feel the dawn chorus in this room. So as we are suspended between light and dark, I hear the chorus. And when you listen closely, when you tune down the noise and the news and the reports, you might hear it too. So whilst tomorrow remains to be written in terms of history, know that today we are winning. Today we are the chorus. Thank you very much.